Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, Arizona, Oklahoma, Alamo Bowl. One of those bowl games that if you're a college football fan, you saw that one pop up and said, yeah, that's one that I'm going to have eyeballs on. We don't take a ton of deep dives into all the bowl games just because of the nature of all the opt-outs and kind of being more of a what do we got coming for next season as opposed to looking at the game. This is one I want to take a deep dive into. And you look at Arizona, a chance to get to 10 wins. Jedd Fisch has done a phenomenal job with this program. And you look at Oklahoma, I mean, most importantly, Jackson Arnold season kicking off, but a chance to get to 11 wins, have that momentum heading into the SEC schedule. This is an Oklahoma team that you're really excited about the jump you saw from year one under Brent Venables to year two, and you're looking to kind of continue that momentum, especially with Jackson Arnold getting the go. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys. It has been just an absolute blast taking a look at all these deep dives into all these games throughout the season. The amount of support you guys have shown the boys has been truly phenomenal. Could not thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And I think the best place to start with this is this Oklahoma offense going up against an Arizona defense that historically has not been very good. It's been phenomenal in 2023. This is a team that's only given up 22.5 points per game. That's 31st in the country. Have been really good in the trenches, only giving up 3.6 yards per carry. That's 28th in the country. Jedd Fisch has done a phenomenal job reshaping this team along the line of scrimmage on both sides, using the transfer portal extremely effectively. Now, starting with Oklahoma, in the offense, you have a new quarterback in Jackson Arnold. You got new offensive play callers, obviously, with Levy going to Mississippi State. What are we going to see from this Oklahoma team? And the first thing I'm looking at is can Oklahoma establish that run game, right? A quarterback's best friend, a young quarterback's best friend, is having a run game to lean on, right? And Jackson Arnold, this is not me saying Jackson Arnold is not capable of putting this team on the back and going out and winning the football game, but you look at a true freshman quarterback getting a start against a top 15 team in the country. You want to give that starting quarterback in Jackson Arnold a strong run game. And the two running backs I'm looking at, Gavin Sawchuk and Tawee Walker. Now, obviously, Tawee Walker enters his name into the portal, still going to go. I want to talk about Gavin Sawchuk and how good he's been towards the back half of this season. I mean, on the year, 105 carries for over 600 yards, 8 touchdowns. The number that's jumping out to me, and sure, a lot of Oklahoma fans have realized this as well, is the yards after contact for Gavin Sawchuk. Now, on 600 rushing yards on the year, 340 of them have come after contact. Gavin Sawchuk has been extremely good getting to the second level, making people miss, bouncing off tackles. You really saw him develop year two in this Oklahoma offense, and you look at that 2024 year. Gavin Sawchuk seems to be the guy within this Oklahoma offense that's going to provide that juice in the run game. Now, you're down a few starters on the offensive line. Can you get that run game going for Jackson Arnold? That's the first question I have. And again, Arizona has been really good against the run, only giving up 3.6 yards per carry. The second question I have is in the wide receiver room. Not really question, more excitement, right? If you're an Oklahoma fan, you have Stoops and Stogner playing their last games in the Oklahoma uniform. Really excited for those guys, especially a guy like Drake Stoops, a fan favorite, one of my favorite players in college football. I'm looking at some of the young cats, right? Nick Anderson, Gibson. And if I had a late Christmas present, it'd be Jaquez Petaway getting some burn here, right? You look at the future of this Oklahoma offense, Jackson Arnold, Jaquez Petaway. That's one of those wide receiver quarterback connections that you're most excited about in a bowl game. Trying to ride some momentum, get some young guys, some burn heading into 2024. Getting those guys who are going to be playmakers for your team, some burn is going to be huge. Would love to see Jaquez Petaway step up in a big way. Now, one of the things I'm looking at the most, and from a pure matchup standpoint, I think a lot of fans from both sides have to be kind of cognizant of, is Arizona loves to blitz their linebacker, Jacob Manu. They like to blitz him in that A and B gap, and you look at Oklahoma, starting a new center in Troy Everett, obviously with Ram going to the NFL. Really excited to see, one, Oklahoma, the biggest question mark we have with this program heading to 2024 is what that offensive line looks like. I'm looking at Jacob Sexton at that right tackle spot. I think he's an absolute stud. But I'm looking at Troy Everett. How does he deal with the linebacker blitzes to that A and B gap. Can he pick him up? Can he kind of get that protection going on that inside of that offensive line? That's the storyline. Arizona has sacked the quarterback 7.5% of dropbacks. That's top 40 in the country. Jacob Manu from that linebacker spot, seven sacks, 19 quarterback hurries. You have a really good edge rusher in Taylor Upshaw coming from Michigan, who has had 8 sacks and over 20 quarterback hurries. Another thing you're looking at if you're an Oklahoma fan is how does this offensive line match up against an Arizona front seven that is going to send some pressure, has some real difference makers in that pass rush position. I'll be looking for that. Now, flipping sides here, the Arizona offense and just so dynamic, and it starts with Noah Fifita, the guy that's taken over for Jaden DeLora. The way I would describe Noah Fifita is kind of just a gamer. And this is a guy that was a low 3-star coming out of high school, didn't get a ton of looks from the Pac-12 teams. He comes into Arizona. He takes over the job in his second year and has been absolute dynamite. You look at this Arizona offense, 34 points per game. That's top 15 in the country, 6.5 yards per play, number 12 in the country. They want to throw the football, but they can run it too. I mean, Jonah Coleman averaging 6.9 yards per carry on 851 yards. They have a good offensive line. They can run the football, but make no mistake about it, they want to hit the explosive play in the passing attack. And they got a guy, again, Noah Fifita, who has completed 73% of his balls for 2,500 yards, 23 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. But they might have one of the better wide receiver duos in the country in T-Mac and Jacob Cowing. A guy like T-Mac that is just so physically imposing down the field, contested catches, creating separation. I truly think he'll be one of the best wide receivers in the country in that 2024 year. Quite frankly, already was in 2023. And then Jacob Cowing, a guy that is just a monster after the catch. And if you're Oklahoma, you want to see your guys tackle in space. Deal with a guy like Jacob Cowing who can make you miss, can kind of take a 4-yard pass and take it 20 yards to the house. How does Oklahoma tackle in space? A thing that Oklahoma has struggled in at times during the season. And if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're looking at what do you want to see from this defense? You want to see this defense get back to what it looked like the first 4 or 5 games of the season. And that is a defense that led the country in negative plays per game. You kind of lost that towards the second half of the season. Again, Oklahoma, a very successful season, but a lot of Oklahoma fans also realized there was some meat left on the bone. And it felt like when Danny Stutzman went down with that injury, that defense didn't totally look the same. If you're Oklahoma, you're going to the SEC in 2024, you want to get back to that Brent Venables defense that we saw in the first half of the season. They're downhill. They're creating negative plays. They're forcing turnovers. And there are a lot of guys that are going to be coming back to this Oklahoma team in 2024. Guys like Stutzman, guys like Billy Bowman. I want to see more Peyton Bowen, Gentry Williams, Makari Vickers. You want to see some of those young guys in the back end kind of come into their own and show that they're going to be difference makers for this Sooners defense in 2024. And then up front, you're looking at a guy like PJ Adebawore. I view bowl games as, yes, you want to win these football games, but you also want to get a feel for what you have in this roster. PJ Adebawore going against 2 phenomenal offensive tackles for Arizona. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. And he's a guy that we knew needed some seasoning coming into his true freshman year. Maybe by the end of December, he's ready to kind of have one of those breakout campaigns. So if you're Oklahoma, you're looking at that defense and saying, what are the young guys on this team that are going to be difference makers for this defense in 2024? And can we get back to that downhill nature of this defense that's going to be disruptive? It's creating chaos in the backfield. That's what you want to see if you're an Oklahoma fan. Again, a phenomenal test against an Arizona team that is really complete. This is a team that can run the football, can throw the football, plays really good defense. This is going to be one of the better bowl games that we see. I think this game means a lot for both of these programs as they look to stack wins heading into 2024. Getting to the pick here. The line opened Arizona favored by 3 points. Now it's down to 1. Or actually, it opened up Arizona as a point favorite. Now it's up to 3 points. I think a lot of people are selling stock on Oklahoma in this game because of the opt-outs, obviously with Dylan Gabriel and a few other players. I look at it as I think this Oklahoma team might not miss a beat with Jackson Arnold. And keep in mind, Jackson Arnold is a guy that just got 15 practices, bowl game practices as that quarterback 1, which is different from what you saw throughout the season. He was getting the quarterback 2 reps behind Dylan Gabriel. So I look for Jackson Arnold to have a big game here. And I'm not going to take a side because I'll tell you this, I have a ton of respect for this Arizona team. I'm going to go with the over here. I think Jackson Arnold comes in, puts a lot of points on the board. I think you're going to see aggressive nature from both of these teams. If it's 4th and 3 and you're thinking about punting, you're probably going to see these teams go for it. It's a bowl game. They're going to play to win the football game. I think you see a lot of points, 2 offenses that I really, really like against 2 defenses that are good. But I think these offenses probably have the upper hand in both of these matchups. Give me the over here. I am extremely excited about this game. 2 teams that if you look at stock price, like you want to buy some stock now because these teams are going in the right direction, heading into 2024, fired up for this one. We'll probably hop on after this game is played, talk about what we learned from this game. Give me the points. Give me the over. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas again. Can't thank you guys enough. It's been a blast of a season. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.